I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, February the 17th, brought to you in part by Macrocin by Bimeda. Battle bovine respiratory disease with Macrocin, the fast-acting, easy-to-use tulathromycin injection with no BS on your savings. You don't have to wait for a refund or anything like that. They give you the savings up front. For more information, go to macrocin.com. Also, Joplin Regional Stockyards in Carthage, Missouri. Tell you what, it is going to be super cold this week, and the cold has curbed their receipts here for the regular feeder cattle sale on Monday. They are expecting a light run, about 2,500 head is all, and they're not going to start until 10 o'clock in the morning, which is normal start time for a lot of sales, but that is halfway through the day for them. But a really light run of feeder cattle for such a big high volume sale there at JRS. And they have already decided to cancel the cow and bull sale for Wednesday, February the 19th. So they won't be having that. But for more information and to check the schedule to make sure you know what's going on, go to joplinstockyards.com. and you can view and bid all of their sales there at DVAuction.com. Where's global warming when you need it? I don't know about you guys, but last week especially, I had forgotten how cold it can be, or how cold I could be, this has been a brutal winter as far as cold. And we've had some sizable snowstorms in some places, but more so just really cold. And I tell you what, you know, we're coming out of this woke culture that we've had for at least the last 4 years with the Magoo administration there. But you know, I don't know. You know, everybody, if you say you don't believe in global warming, then you're a conspiracy theorist or whatever, and a lot of you guys will disagree with me. But do we have global warming? No, I don't think so. Climate change, yes. But the climate on this globe has been changing since before we ever got here. And if you look back, you'll see, I mean, the temperatures have ranged and been pretty volatile throughout. But we can see, you know, in the wintertime it gets really cold, and in the summertime it gets hot. That's kind of the way it is. And to think that us little humans down here can make that big of a change on this giant globe without some kind of nuclear explosion or something, you know, I don't know. This world is spinning on its axis at a pretty high rate of speed, and I can't feel it. Maybe you guys can. But, you know, I don't know about the global warming. I'm not believing it. Most of our cattle auctions across the central part of the U.S. this week have already been postponed or canceled. And I mean from central Texas all the way to the Canadian border. There's going to be a pretty good snowstorm come across the lower part of the Midwest also. But I mean dangerously frigid, bitter cold temperatures. I was talking to my friend John Fisher from Stockman's Livestock Exchange in Dickinson, North Dakota. They've canceled their sales for this week. It is going to be so damn cold. He was showing me the forecast of the temperatures coming up this week. Air temperatures ranging from -20 to -35 degrees. And that's going to be all over North Dakota, probably the north half of South Dakota, but all over that northern plains area there, guys. That is dangerous. Wind chills from 35 to 50 below zero. That is tough. Now we need to pray for the livestock and the livestock producers that are trying to take care of them. And you know, they're going to be trying to get out there and put some bedding down for those cattle. You know, it's impossible to get any kind of shelter for that kind of cattle, and then a lot of times it's not really that good to put them under a shed. But you got to get some bedding down for them, you know, on that frozen turf there. And you got to watch your bulls, especially, guys. They can be impotent if they're laying on frigid, cold ground there. But if you can get a little bit of bedding underneath them, that helps so much. And we got to take care of the cattle, guys. Of course, they're going to have a hard time getting water to them. And sometimes we don't think, or we don't remember how bad that those cattle need ample water. Whenever the temperatures are that cold, you think, well, why would they be thirsty? They still need water, guys, and it is hard to keep fresh water to those cattle in temperatures like that. I mean, it just freezes so quick that you can't believe it. But it is going to be a rough week out there, guys, and just be careful out there. But very few cattle are going to be moving of any kind. Talked to some of my friends in Missouri. They have canceled the biggest part of the sales up through the middle of the week. Now there's going to be a few sales here to start the week on Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, very few cattle are going to be sold at auction in your sale barns across the middle part of the country because it's just too cold. You know, your equipment don't start. It's hard to move the cattle around. It's dangerous for everybody, so it's just better off not to be fooling with that and just kind of back out and let these cold temperatures pass by us. But it's going to be a rough week out there, guys. You guys be careful out there, and I know you're struggling to take care of your livestock, and you do the very best you can. Maybe you can recruit some PETA members out there to come help you take care of those cattle in these frigid, cold temperatures. But Brooke Rollins is our newly confirmed USDA secretary. We don't know a whole lot about her. She's a stock show mom. We like that. She is a Trump loyalist. We like that. But we don't know a whole lot about her. But already they have terminated 78 contracts with USDA, totaling more than $132 million of wasteful spending there, and there's more than 1,000 contracts that are under review. And Secretary Brooke Rollins has already said that she welcomes Doge to come in there and Elon Musk to go in there and uncover what they can see in wasteful spending and fraud and what have you there. But I guarantee you there's a lot of it in USDA, just like there is a lot of it in all of these different departments of the federal government. And I think it's great that they're going in and finding that. I don't know about you, but my tax money, I hate to see it wasted, and I know you guys do too. But let's look at your board for last week. February live cattle futures on Monday were up $1.10, very volatile. Tuesday down 2.20, Wednesday down 52, Thursday back up 40 cents, and Friday down $1.80, with your February live cattle futures ending the week at 197.75, which was down 302, but your cash fat cattle were down a lot more than that. April live cattle ended the week at 194.25. That was down 252. Look at your feeder cattle for March. Monday they were up 322. Tuesday down 335. Wednesday up 20 cents. Thursday up $3 smooth, and then Friday down $1.62, with March feeder cattle ending the week at 266.35, up $1.45 for the week. April ended the week $1.60 higher at 266.42. You look at your grains. March corn ended the week at 496.25. That was up 8 3/4. Soybeans from March ended the week at 1036, down 13.5. Volatility, guys. And hard red winter wheat for March ended the week at 621.25, up 17 cents a bushel. Big moves there on your ag commodities. Look at your fat cattle market. Through Thursday, we had only sold 17,700 head of negotiated cash sales in your 5-area feeding region. Very light, and the market was sharply lower. We started seeing the Southern Plains puking cattle early in the week. Basically pulled the rug out from under the Northern Plains guys that have they drug us all the way up the pole, guys, for our most recent rally. And then to see the Southern Plains pull the rug out from under them during a trading week, and that is tough for them, and they could never really recover from that. But cash sales live negotiated in your 5-area feeding region ranged from just 202 to 203. So the Southern Plains has pretty much erased the discount that they were trading to the Northern Plains, even though Northern Plains has the leverage. But that 202 to 203 in your 5-area feeding region was $1 to $10 lower than the previous week, with your weighted average live steer price at 202.84, down $4.21 for the week. That is a stiff loss. Dress sales ranged from $3.15 to $3.22 last week, and that ranged from $5 to $11 lower. Weighted average on dress steers ended up to be $320.62. Now that's going to change a little bit once we add the Friday sales in, but not really a lot because they didn't change too much. But that $320.62 dressed weighted average up through Thursday on your steers was $6.36 lower than the previous week. As a whole, your Southern Plains market traded $3 to $4 lower, from 202 to 203, a lot of 202. Northern Plains was flat $5 lower at 203. We're never able to garner any more than 203 live cash sales. Dress market was $7 to $8 lower, from 320 to 321 as a whole. Now on Friday we traded a little bit more cattle, but it was still a really light trade for the week, which, you know, we say, well, that's tough for your feedlots because they didn't get to clean out their show list. But it's also tough for your packers. Even though they've scaled back the slaughter a lot, they need cattle around them. They've got obligations to fill on the other end of the plant there, and they're not getting that done. So, I mean, it's kind of a standoff here. But on Friday in Iowa, we sold another 3,800 head, 8,050 is all. And there could be a few late sales Friday, but I'm not expecting very many at all. But that is really light in an area in Iowa that's been selling more negotiated cash the past year or so than they have for the past 10 years. And that is extremely light. Normally we would see around 25,000 head sell, give or take one way or the other, and only 8,050 head in Iowa. And on Friday, those 3,800 head of live sales sold 203, and that was steady with earlier in the week, and your dress sales from 320 to 321. So no change on Friday. Nebraska sold a few more, 11,800 head, but only 14,750 head for the week, and that's about 10,000 light. Live sales in Nebraska on Friday, 201 to 203. Dress sales from 320 to 321. Like I said, not much change there. Kansas did not sell a hoof on Friday up through 2 o'clock. They may have sold some late sales. We'll find out, and I'll tell you about that on the next feeder flash. But only 8,400 head for the week in Kansas. In Texas, they sold another 400 head at 203, so the same price as those fancy cattle up in the Midwest and the Northern Plains, and 2,550 head for the week in Texas. Box beef cutout values were down hard. So, you can't really blame the packers. I mean, they're not able to move their products, so they're not wanting to give more for the cattle feeders product. But your weighted average last week on your choice cuts was down 732 at 319.46. And then your late week sales on Friday afternoon were another about 475 lower than that weighted average at 314.70 on Friday afternoon. Your weighted average on select cuts last week was down 540 at 310.45, and your late Friday sales on select cuts was down about another 330 at 307.14. Now your choice select spread is super narrow. Of course, February is kind of a down month for sales, and people aren't really out there buying the most expensive cuts. There's nothing really to celebrate too much. People are still paying off their Christmas bills. It's super cold and they don't want to go outside and grill. So your Choice Select spread was just about $9. That is really, really narrow, guys. And all that information on 627 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings. Your slaughter for the week was really disappointing. A lot of your big packing plants just running 32 hours for the week, and like I told you in our last visit, some of them taking Valentine's Day off like it was Christmas. But last week, your estimated cattle slaughter for the whole week, including Saturday, was only 561,000. If we get under 600, we're down, and we were only 561,000. That was 23,000 less than the previous week, and 47,000 head less than the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. Buck Ridge Cattle Company near Seymour, Missouri is going to be having their spring production sale coming up on Monday, March the 3rd at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's going to be on DVAuction. I want to tell you about Buck Ridge. That is my friends Mark and Logan Hayden there. And I tell you what, they are some of the nicest people that I've ever been around, and it is a complete family operation there. They haven't been doing it forever, but long enough. I tell you what, the last 20 years, they have been relying heavily on artificial insemination and embryo transfer, guys, to get some of the best cattle that they can get for you. And it's going to be a very impressive seed stock sale there. They're concentrating on easy calving, explosive growth, docility, carcass, and maternal traits. So, I mean, they know what they're doing there, guys. They're doing a really, really good job. Their heart is in it. And like I said, I think you guys should pay attention to that sale. They're going to be selling 70 head of 18-month-old bulls there and another 15 females. And I'm going to be on hand there if you guys want to come just to shake hands and visit for a little bit. I'm going to be on hand there at Buck Ridge Sale on Monday, March the 3rd at 2 o'clock p.m. and it's going to be on DVAuction.com. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, brought to you by Specialty Risk Insurance, working to protect your livelihood. Your real-time index ended the week at 276.16. That's with DVAuction, and that is based on the average of your 800-pound steers up through your middle 12 states, ranging from 7 to 899 pounds, just like your CME cash feeder cattle index. But that 276.16 was down 91 cents compared to the end of the previous week, which is not terrible. I mean, we've been falling out of bed the last few weeks here and down less than $1 on your 7-day moving average. Your latest CME cash feeder cattle index sitting at 276.23. Your cash feeder trends last week in your feeder cattle auctions were unevenly steady, and that is throughout. I mean, I didn't see one place where they could call the whole market one way or the other. It was unevenly steady. It ranged in different directions on calves or yearlings or whatever there was on offer. It's just, but we did see some firm footing. And that makes us feel good that the parachute did come out and we got some firm footing from this down market that we've been experiencing since late in January there, but pretty much all month here in February. But we saw some pretty impressive sales late in the week, and like I said, not going to be a lot of sales here up through until late week this week, and so there's going to be some guys that are going to be needing some cattle. I don't think we're backed up selling cattle at all because we've been pulling cattle forward and forward. So you guys don't have to sell cattle, and in temperatures like this, they're better off just leaving them there at home where they can be the most comfortable and then waiting for a better day to do it. But a big sale late last week on Friday was Fort Pierre Livestock Auction in Fort Pierre, South Dakota. That's 6,750 cattle. Excellent offerings, some of their best consignments there, long strings included in there. The market was uneven, just like everywhere else. They had several strings of replacement heifers, and I mean reputation deals. and most of them weighing from 6.5 to 7.5. And those replacement heifers were bringing from 303 to 349 hundred there, and that's a very impressive quote. And we've started to see, especially since this market's fallen a little bit, we've started to see significant keeping of replacement quality heifers, guys. And we knew it was going to happen at some point, and when the market kind of fades back a little bit, and we see it come on a lot stronger. But an impressive steer quote out of Fort Pierre was 65 steers, weighed 734, bring 307. Big time quote there. How about winter livestock auction in Winter, South Dakota on Friday? They sell 72 steers, weighed 793, and bring 291. I have to tell you that over the weekend I was up in Minnesota, and that was some of the cold I got. I got really cold in Tucumcari, New Mexico last week, videoing bulls, but over the weekend, I was in Kimball, Minnesota at the Schiefelbein Farms production sale. And you guys think, well, what were you doing there? You know, they know that the Schiefelbein family is humongous. But Don Schiefelbein is a past president of NCBA. He and I had been at odds on several different things about the industry there. But he is one guy that I respect. He always called me up, and we would visit about the differences that we saw and whatever issue that was going on with the industry there. He invited me to come up and speak to his crowd. They had a dinner there the night before, and he was touring the farm and showing people the cattle, and they had a capacity crowd there. And I was really impressed with the number of Feeder Flash gang members that were there, and I enjoyed visiting with all of them. But it was a really good time there at Schiefelbein Farms in Kimball, Minnesota over the weekend. And on Saturday, they sold nearly 400 bulls. Now, they had some balancers in there, mostly Angus bulls. They had some younger ones in there. But the average on all the bulls, nearly 400 of them, was over $11,000 a head. Very impressive. They sold another 51 registered bred heifers there, and they averaged over $8,400 per head. Through the DVAuction console, and that was the first time that DVAuction had ever worked that sale. And I was taking bids there for DVAuction, and through DVAuction we sold 104 lots to 45 different buyers. Most of the day I was watching through there, and there was over 500 people watching that sale on DVAuction, and over 250 were registered to bid and approved. But the 104 lots that we sold through DVAuction there at Schiefelbein Farms brought over $1 million. But it was an excellent sale. I was very impressed with everything that I saw there at Schiefelbein Farms, the facilities, the cattle, but the family was just unbelievable. I tell you what, there's 8 brothers there. They've got big extended families there. They've never had a divorce within that family. They're a good Catholic family there, and all of them really, you know, made us feel home there. And I appreciate that, and I thank everybody at the Schiefelbein Farm sale. Some more individual quotes late last week and over the weekend. How about Magnus Livestock Market in Huron, South Dakota? 68 steers weighed 927 and bring 272. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere late last week or over the weekend in your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of the Erickson Spalding Livestock Market in Erickson, Nebraska. It was 121 of the Leo O'Reilly steers. They weighed 780 pounds and bring 293.75. And that's your Feeder Flash for Monday.